Leaders usually get to learn, and I think that we have such a sharp group. I think that with the bonus we have going to October 14th, that if nobody knows this, till October 14th, which is in about, what, 17 days, okay, we got, that's some quick math, that a qualifying day that's usually what?
6.
Has been dropped down for only temporarily short term right now, super fast. Grab your phone to 4 for 4. And some people have taken advantage of that. Can we agree some people want to get to that paid leg day?
Okay, no game. They play no game.
Bro, like, isn't it crazy? Zenari gets a qualifying day, then puts on heels. And then she goes out to the field, gets another qualifying day, and then puts on a blazer. It's no coincidence.
Compound effect.
Is it not? It's because what you do in the office translates to the field. There's no separation. I don't say, hey, the schedule is 11:45 to 12:30, then 12:45 to 8. No, I say it's 11:45 to 8 because what you do in the office feeds into the field. Agreed?
Agreed.
If you have a bad attitude out here, congrats. You're gonna run into some mean people out there. Isn't that funny? You have a bad day in here, it feels like everybody's just mad at you. Bro, there's one time, I promise you, I walked in, I had my coffee, I was so excited. I had coffee. Back in Dallas, we have Dutch Bros, right? I came in, dropped it at the door. Oh, I saw it, see me, see it falling. Okay, so it stared at me, said bye, right, and then dropped, okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm having a bad day. And then Rich was like, what's up, Danny? I'm like, don't talk to me. Right? And so, that entire day, I feel like everybody in my zip code saw me drop that coffee because they're like, nah, I'm not interested. Nah, I'm good. Nah, you're already here. I'm like, bro, I've been here for like 2 months. What do you mean I've already been here? I've never even been to this complex. They're like, nah, you've already been here. They're like, nah, someone was just here yesterday. I'm like, you're lying. They're like, yeah, I just don't want it. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, huh. And then I was like, okay. So the next day, I got Dutch Bros again, right? And so I didn't spill it this time, and I had a great day. I don't recommend judging your attitude on coffee, but here the actual intention for him. I had a great day in the office. Bro, I think I did like 9 that day. It was awesome. Not 10, 9.
Whoa.
I know, I don't remember standards. You remember that meeting? Did we have it posted on YouTube?
I do.
Yeah, let's watch it, okay? I'm advertising here.
All meetings are posted, guys.
So, that's still not what a meeting is, but can you tell I'm in a good mood?
Yes.
Can you tell that nothing today is gonna affect my attitude? I got my summit, I got my growth, I got my upline, my sister woke up today, I'm blessed, okay? Right, yeah, no. Okay, I'm living life, okay? So, usually only leaders have this talk on their one-on-ones with their upline, but I like to color outside the lines a little bit. So if we're really grateful today, whoever made fun of me, that was funny. Okay, I didn't even get mad. Right, and so I'm gonna color outside the lines a little bit, and I'm gonna talk about what honoring the partnership really means, okay? Because we talk about the 4 core pillars when you're in entry level. If you haven't had that talk, get with your upline and have that talk. Okay, but when you're in leadership, we're expected to honor the partnership, okay? Because mentorship is not anticipated at that point; it's earned. Agreed?
Agreed.
Right, like Richard has 0 incentive to keep mentoring me. Agreed? So I want to go ahead and reevaluate. I want to renew my subscription to his mentorship every single week. Agreed?
Agreed.
Can I say these things?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So listen to me, right? So what I'm saying is, right, is there's 8 steps to honoring the partnership that leaders, growing people who are going to be partners with me in this business and Alexis in this business, that we are expected to hold. Right? And I think we have food to talk about this a little bit because I had to do this for 24 weeks straight. And if you do this for 24 weeks straight, your lives are going to change. Alexis' life changed. Lives, all 5 of them, all personalities done, changed. Okay, Alexis' life changed when she honored the partnership for 16 weeks straight. Her team changed, her values changed, her morals changed, right? Her attitude changed, the way she spoke changed. Who here feels like their language changed through this business? Bro, she just had, like right now she's walking around with a book, right? Like there's someone that's just rich, right? Like there's just somebody, right? And I think it's super cool because it's like, if you keep fighting the opportunity, the people are gonna start being able to tell. People can tell when you're fighting the opportunity. Because I know, because I fought the opportunity. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, ugh. Right? I'm just pissed, right? And I see these people, and I talk to them 2 months later, and I'm like, bro, what changed? And they're sitting there, and they have downlines, and they have a crew, and they're dressing sharper, they're talking smarter, their paychecks are better, and it's crazy. It just all stems from honoring this partnership, right? And the first one is professionally networking. Now, professionally networking begins with what? Professionally. Holy smokes. Okay, I won't dive in too deep on this one, but hear me, right? Professionally, okay? So like when you set up a one-on-one and you send that text to an account manager in the Orlando office and you're trying to talk to them, don't go on there and talk about how many likes you got on Instagram, okay? Right? You're sitting there and you want to grow. Be like, hey, my name's China. I'm from the Raleigh office under Alexis, right? I'm really just, I want to grow in this business, and I just want to know what things should I learn before I get to the conference. Like, so that's a professional question. Agreed?
Agreed.
Is that a great networking topic?
Yes.
Okay, that's super cool to have. Now, how many of these you should have? I'm glad you asked, okay? You should have 2 to 5 a week. Okay? I can guarantee you the more you do, there's not like you get more, it's like excess. The more you have, the better you feel. There's no cap. Okay? The more you drink, the more you have, you're good. Okay? So one-on-ones, there's not like at 5 you do 6 and then you start feeling yourself come up with a cold. No, like you're good. I did 15 one-on-ones a week when I was growing my team in the management training program. I'm not saying be fanatical like that. It takes time, okay? Each were like 30, 45 an hour long. Okay, I still do. I think when I was growing the business, my first couple months of ownership, I did like 20 plus. Okay, and it's super cool because the more you do, there's no cap. You just learn more. You get in front of more people, you learn more things. Can we agree?
Agree.
Well, even if it's a bad book, you read the book, you'll learn something.
Yeah.
Cool?
Cool.
All right.
XS stands for extra smart.
Extra smart.
Extra smile.
Oh, extra smart. Okay. So 2 to 5 one-on-ones a week. Right. The way you do it, right? No one knows what professional networking is. It's just reaching out to people. Now, we have our uplines, we have our downlines, and we also have our
Crosslines.
Okay, so this is where I'm gonna go ahead and plant a little bit of a seed, okay? Should Caroline, who's trying to get to leadership, call an entry level all the way up in Chicago? No. Who could she call if she wants to network out really with Chicago? Level 1 or up. Okay? And I see this happening a lot. Usually it's common sense, right? Why would you network out with somebody who's in the same position as you? Y'all are going through the same things, right? But I also see y'all, the moment y'all have a bad day, y'all go straight to y'all's who? Cross lines. And I'm like, hey, good job. You unhonored the partnership. That's unprofessionally networking. Great job. Right? Like you're unearning the mentorship. Good job. Like that. And it's okay because I was the same way. Okay? Because when I had a bad day, I didn't want to get coached. I didn't want to get mentored. I was just pissed. So who would I go to who I knew was not going to coach me or who was not going to mentor me? Somebody who only knew as much as me. That's really where that's where cross networking comes from. Agreed?
Agreed.
Right? You don't want to be held to the standard you know you should be held to. So you go to your cross line and you're like, hey, lost my attitude today, did you? Right? And then they're sitting there like, yeah, I did. I made no money today. How'd you do? Me neither. And then y'all sit there and y'all talk about for 5 minutes how not to make money, right? And so it's like, why? When your upline is over there trying to get you promoted. Makes sense, right? Doesn't make sense to me? Doesn't make sense to me either. Okay? All right. Making friends outside the office. Okay, what I mean by this is we have a term that you actually build with your upline the moment you get to leadership called your circle of 5. Okay? White rabbit, supporter, legend,
Challenger.
challenger, and directioner. Okay, you don't have to remember those. You don't have to write those down. It's just that there's a limit, not to how much you should network out, but there's a limit on how many people you should network out to. Okay, because you could get one opinion on between 50 different people, or you can go ahead and get 5 solid people that I know. Like if I was to call Ken Weinrub right now, he would answer my phone because I've networked out with him 3 times a week for the last 8 weeks. Okay, and so you want to get to that position where you know somebody so well that they understand your position. So your first 20 minutes of a call isn't, hey, my name is A, I'm from the Raleigh office with Danny on the Verizon campaign. I'm just getting into trying to push for leadership, right? A conference is coming up, blah, 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 and that takes 15 minutes, and you have to do that with 10 different people. No, if you did that just the same person every week, on the 8th week, you're like, yo, bro, this is what we got, this is my situation. Right? Can we agree with Leslie? The way Leslie talked to Aaron the first time and the way Leslie talks to Aaron the 5th time are a little bit different. Agreed?
Agreed.
Aaron's our Crossline owner. He runs the San Diego market. Okay. So with that being said, it's super cool to think about that now. Right? People have networked out with me so much. They're like, Danny. And other times they're like, Mr. Complex. I'm like, don't ever call me that. Okay. Right? And so it changes. Right? It's because when you get comfortable, you can really get better questioning, better mentorship, better networking. Make sense?
Makes sense.
But the whole point is to keep it also,
Professional.
keep it professional. Cool. Second is personal sales. Now, I've never understood this part. I'm like, hey, in order to earn Richard's mentorship, why should I have the sale? Anybody think like that? It's okay to think like that. It's definitely okay to think of, maybe, please, no, you're promising more people are thinking like that, they're just afraid to raise their hand. Brian, think good job. Anybody else think like that? Like, hey, okay, there we go. See, Miriam, you're just a catalyst, okay? Right, hey, in order to, Danny says this job is not just sales, so why should I have to sell? Okay, and it's because, right, in order to get out of something, in order to go ahead and coach something, can we agree you should at least be the best at it?
Yeah.
So if you want to get to a position where you're coaching 10 to 15 people on how to do the sales, to get out of the sales, shouldn't you have been the best example of doing the sales to get out of the sales as well? Cool. That's exactly why I'm going to the field again. I'm telling these people, I'm like, okay, my team got, like, between 5G, I think we got 4 people in the field. I mean, 6 people were in the field, 5 got qualifying days. And I'm like, okay, they qualified. They haven't seen me qualify yet, so let me go back in the field. Right, because I have to renew my chance to mentor them as well. Right, and so it's like, all sales are for me, right? And I'm not gonna write this down, but I would love for you to write it down on your own personal notes. Right, sales is a side effect of doing the right thing when no one's watching. We have such an easy product. Verizon, which is one of the best home internets on the 5G side in all of the East Coast, and Nestle, who is one of the most known well water brands. Fortune 100 client, they're the #1 on the drinking beverages in the Fortune 100 client list. Right, you have such an easy client that you're right, it's not sales focused. Right, but it's definitely inquired about sales because it's such an easy thing to do. Sales is the art of communication. Can we agree? Right, this is why I love The Way of the Wolf, right? Because he always talks about, he's like, sales is not convincing someone to buy something they don't need, right? People buy who you are before they buy what you're selling. Agreed?
Agreed.
Right, so personal sales is doing the right thing when no one's watching. Right, on the 5G side, we've been talking a lot about compliance. Hey, do you have the will, do you have the availability to go ahead and if somebody's not gonna stay with Verizon for a long time, do you have the strength long-term to walk away from that customer? Knowing that could have been an easy sale, but knowing Verizon would have been happy with that. And when you do that, you find 3 other quality customers usually. Isn't that cool? That's why sales is tied into mentorship. Agreed?
Agreed.
Cool. 3. I'm gonna hear some groans. Looking out for it as I say the word. Reading.
Look.
Someone just threw up. Okay, okay. Okay, guys, raise your hand if you are not or were not a bookworm. Okay, I had my menu read to me. Okay, people would give me menus and I'm like, where's the pictures? Right? Yeah, you see, this is what we're gonna see. And we're gonna help. I can help you. This is a safe place. I'm just kidding. Okay, so when I was the exact same way. You couldn't pay me to read. Okay, and then my mentor. I saw the way my mentor conducted himself. I saw the way Richard talked, spoke, interacts. Also saw his income, and then I also kept seeing the impact he had on people. And I said, "Hey, what got you to this level?" And he says, "Because I had free association." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Reading is associating with people through words. So if you don't have the discipline to read minimum 15 minutes a day, then you won't have the will to build a business that's going to last longer than you." And ever since then, I'm like, okay, so 15 minutes a day, I can do that. 15 minutes a day, that's like 2 talk-tos. I can do that. Can we agree that's like a 1.5 sales?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. If you sit down and not just reading and not reading through your phone. Okay, people will ask me this, not reading through your phone, because you're reading, John C. Maxwell's talking, Grant Cardone's talking, and boom, Instagram notification. Someone just liked your photo. And you're like, oh, what's that? Click on it, 2 hours later, you're on TikTok.
Reading makes my head.
Reading, growing your income doesn't, so I'm telling you, read it, okay? Right, I am telling you right now, reading is the ability to go ahead and produce thoughts older and better than yourself. Okay? Reading, if you wanna really carry yourself in some manner that people listen, read a book. If you can't read, I promise you, you're gonna struggle. Because something you say, something the way you conduct yourself, someone's judging it. Someone is judging it, hands down. And if it's not your mentor, it's probably your downline. And if they can't trust that what you're saying is the right things, right? If I can't blame everything I'm saying on a book, right? Every single day I'm like, hey, I just read this book. I just read this quote. I'm talking to Sebi. I'm like, hey, I'm reading John C. Maxwell. Guess what he said? Right? And so Sebi knows I know what I'm talking about. He trusts me 100% that I'm going to get him to where he wants to be. I know he's going to get to ownership because he has 100% faith in me. And he knows what it took to sound, talk, and act like me. So what do you think he's going to do? He's going to read a couple of books. Even though he doesn't like it. I didn't like it for the first 21 days. But on the 22nd day, I rested my head at 10:50 p.m. Right? I know, early, right? And I woke up and I was like, I didn't read. I almost had a nightmare. It was crazy. I was like, I didn't read. And it was like 1:30 in the morning and I read. I got up and I read because I felt guilty. Right? Like build the habit. Build the habit. For 90 days, read 15 minutes a day and see how your team is. See it. Promise you. You almost feel guilty. Right now it's to the point where people know and you can hear the language. I'm talking about this because I love this topic. You can hear when someone reads a book. Agree?
Agree.
You can hear when that person's like, oh wow, that person reads. And then someone else talks and you're like, wow, they read Dr. Seuss. Okay, they're like, wow, that person, yeah, read Junie B. Jones.
I read that.
I read Junie B. Jones too. Yeah, but Junie B. Jones turned into John C. Maxwell. Come on, talk to me now. Okay? Okay? Right, like you can, there is something and professionally and ethically attractive to when your mentor can conduct and enunciate words in a professional manner. Agree?
Agree.
Like imagine how much a meeting sounds better when you're just looking at the person and you're like, wow, that quote is fire. I love quotes. I genuinely love quotes. So if you ever listen to my meeting, I always drop little tiny quotes that are like, that you can look back on? Anybody know?
Oh yeah. We read them down.
One hit wonder too. He can't.
They're one-hit wonders, so I don't even remember them. Right? But I got that from reading. Everyone says like, Danny, that was a good ass quote. Oh, that was a good quote, right? And I'm like, hey, I read it somewhere. Go find out. Read 20 books and find out which one I read it. Okay? Because reading is something that there's just a discipline of putting your phone down, sitting down on your couch. I sit down on my balcony because I like the view, right? But I sit down and then I open my book and I just read. And I read the words through a paper. There is something special about that. And I can't tell you, but anybody else who's read a paper copy, right, understands that there's something that you just know you're just beating somebody 5 years from now on income. Right? Like I read a page and I'm just like, oh, there's some owner out there that's not reading and I'm just gonna beat them. And boom, I get back to reading. I won't dive too much deep into that anymore, but I hope y'all get the point. Make sense? Cool. Read a book. Read a book. Read a book. Now if you're reading a book and it has not been upline recommended, congrats, you're reading a brick. Okay? Because someone's like, I'm reading this book. And I'm like, wow. I've read 57 books and I've never even seen that one. Why? Right? Or this other time, I'm like, if it's you, I apologize, right? But I was reading this one book and someone saw me reading a book, so they just bought it. And then they started reading it. And then I was like, oh, that's such a good book. Who told you to read that? You're like, I saw you walking around with it, so I read it. And I'm like, yes, I love that. But you haven't taught back your systems. Know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right? It's like step 7, but you're barely on step 0 type of deal. Right? So it's like you can read the book when it has the most impact on you. There's a reason why you read Rich Dad Poor Dad when you're an assistant manager and not when you're entry level. Right? There's a reason why you read Millionaire Booklet at entry level and you don't read it when you're an RC. Okay? There's a couple things. Make sense? Cool. So always check with your book. Check with your plan. Cool. 4th, listening. Holy smokes. See how these two are different steps? Not saying, hey Danny, I read, but somebody read to me. No. Okay, audible is not step 3. Audible is step 4. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay, you should not just be listening to someone speak. Okay, that's why I'm saying, like, yeah, I've read 57 books, but in reality, you've watched 57 YouTube videos. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, now I love podcasts. Okay, there's something special about hearing The Way of the Wolf be read out to you. There's something super different with that. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. 1 podcast a day. Okay, if you need podcast things, just ask for them on the Impulsive Chat. There's some good leadership podcasts out there. Okay, and the thing is I'm not saying, hey, you need to drop everything and start honoring the partnership right away. No, I'm just saying make your time actually productive. When you're driving, turn down Bad Bunny and turn on some Grant Cardone. It is okay. Or when you're showering, instead of listening to Neo, okay, right? Just blast a podcast. Turn on some Richard Anderson on YouTube, bro. Okay, right? Like I used to never listen to. Anybody listen to music in the shower? Not that many.
No, I listen to my mom.
Okay, listen to a rich person's thoughts. Turn on a meeting.
The water gets hot.
Okay. Huh? Yeah, the water gets hotter. The water turns to gold. Okay. The water teaches back the system. Okay, I'm done. All right. So, listening to a podcast is also important because hearing the tonality of an actual speaker is something super cool. Okay, because it's not just about the context of a word, right? But the actual way you execute a word is super important too. What's up?
So I listen to like a lot of like the motivational speaker like Eric Thompson, stuff like that. Do you like recommend
E.T.?
that? Yeah.
No, I recommend that a lot. Has that? No, I definitely recommend that. Eric Thompson, is that name Eric? Yeah, Eric Thompson. He's a great motivational speaker. I love the story of like when he talks about putting somebody under the.
That's the one I did for mine.
Yes, that's the one you did. Okay, cool. Right, like I love that a lot. I'm just saying, if you don't know if it's okay, just check with your upline. Hands down, always. I have one motivational podcast a day. Hands down. Cool. 5 is association. Okay, association. That means having a great office presence. Okay, attending team nights. Okay, and also stuff like quarterly conferences. That room is going to change some people's lives. Some people will go to this conference that I'm telling you about as a rep and come back an owner. Right? Like Alexis went to the last conference as a level 2. And now she's going to the conference bringing her own company. Okay? There is some association that happens in that room that is insane. There are people that are into the 6 figures. There are people that are in the same position you are. There are people that are into the 7 figures in this room. Okay, there's 150 people that are in my position. You are gonna see me be like a little kid at a candy shop when I get there. You will never see me in the same place at once. Don't try to call my phone because my phone's dead. Because I just got so many phone numbers. The hotline is not blinging. Okay? I don't even know what that means. Right, and with that being said, right, like this conference, the association that happens at this conference is absolutely insane. Okay, there's people who have gotten hundreds of people to management. There are people that don't even know what's going on. They're like, hey, someone said submit an email, so here I am. And then there's other people that are like, I'm here because I want something different. And you just see it in their eyes that one person's gonna come back with the hot hand. Somebody's gonna come back into this business, right, and just be fired up. I think I've seen the most qualifying days after the conference. It was the day after we got back from Philly. I think we did not only 60 sales as an office, right, but we promoted probably 10 leaders after that. And we were just loading them up. We had leaders cooking every 3 days. And just in the oven, ready to pop, ready to pop. Okay? Like there is something that happens at this conference that people just spark up, light up, and they're like, wow, I'm really not just here going door to door for no reason. Right? Like you're gonna hear other people give motivational speeches. There's some people there that are gonna be 10 times the better speaker than I am. And you're gonna see them and you're gonna be like, wow. 10 years in this business did that to him. You're gonna see people that are millionaires. You're gonna see people that are well into the 6 figures, healthy 6 figures. Right? And then you're gonna see some people, and they're all gonna say, "I started off where you were." Right? You see this guy named Zach Shook. He makes $4.3 million a year. Lives in the richest zip code in North Carolina. Right? And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I went door to door selling certificates to a golf course for $20." Holy smokes, this guy, imagine that story. 16 years later, he's like, I've never worked a full day of work in 14 years. He's like 38. I'm like, wow, that dude's so cool. I want to be like him. And he has some cool hair too. He's like really cool. Okay? It's super cool. His name's Zach Shook. He's a national consultant in this business. And you're going to see these people. You're going to see these people and you're going to be like, you're not going to believe them that they said, yeah, I was in that position. I was in your position 4 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 years ago. Like that, how does somebody change like that? And there's gonna be other people that are like, yep, I'm gonna be in that position 10 years from now. I'm gonna be a speaker at a conference next month. Make sense? Cool. 6, accountability. Education versus entertainment. Okay. I went through the training when I was 20 years old, guys. I went through the training as a 20-year-old, okay? So when I'm telling you, when I knew I had to come in on a Saturday at 8 a.m. for my leaders meeting, the back of the thought was like, okay, do I want my education or do I want my entertainment? Because there's some discipline that it takes to tell my friends, no, I'm not going out to the club with you on a Friday because I have a meeting to go to on Saturday. That now, they wait till Friday nights, I can wait till 3 p.m. Okay, that I sacrificed 4.5 months worth of Friday nights, that now I have the next 40 years, and they still have only Friday nights. Okay, right, like 4.5 months of sacrificing my, of prioritizing my education, got me back my freedom, and it got them PTO. Okay? Like, I'm trying to be super serious, okay? Right? And that's probably one of my one-liners for the day. Is that you prioritize your education, you will be educating someone else. Okay? So it's okay to tell some people no. If you wouldn't trade bank accounts with them, you probably shouldn't be hanging out with them. And that goes back to association. If you would not be trading bank accounts with them, then you're like, oh, I need to get better friends. When I joined this business, 4 weeks later, I had one single friend. Now he's a sports editor writer for ESPN. Okay, graduated from Baylor. And he's like, Danny, I don't know what kind of business you're in, but it sounds cool. I support it. Have fun, brother. And the other ones are like, you're not coming out with us on a Friday. You suck. And then now they're the same person asking me for a job, the same one that were making fun of me 6 months ago. And you know what I tell them? Fill out an application, okay? Okay, hop on the first round. And that's not to, and I don't say that with hate in my heart. I say that because I'm never mad at somebody because they weren't taught honoring the partnership. They were taught how to probably fill out some orders, how to be a great employee, right? And so, last one really quick, all right, last two, coachable and mentorship. And the last one is communication. I'm gonna harp on these two and then we are gone. Okay. I'm gonna talk about something called a 90-day core run. It's super cool. I was talking to Alexis about this. She's on a call right now. Okay, so coachable mentorship. Okay, there is one thing to be coachable. There's another thing to go ahead and apply the coaching. Okay, what I mean by that is they can be like, Danny, I lost my attitude. I got 10 no's back to back. I suck. And then I go and I call you, and 5 minutes later you have your attitude back up. That's a whole different thing from being just coachable. Okay, I'm talking about being mentored as well. Being like, hey Danny, I want to receive the skill set to get to leadership so I can start building my team. Right, like the questions that Miriam is asking now, and the questions that she was asking a month ago, completely different questions. And I love that because that means that she's growing. Is she gonna fail? Yes. Is she gonna mess up? Yes. Did she already probably mess up? Yes. But that's the whole point of being coachable. That when she messes up, I know she's honoring the partnership because she's coachable and mentorship. She never questions me. She just asks me the why. She's like, hey Danny, you did this. Is there a specific reason why? Right, because she wants mentorship. She's not, Danny, hey, why did you do this? She's like, hey Danny, this is what I think is going on. Am I in the right headspace for this as a leader? You know how powerful that is? You know how I know this girl, I need for her to submit an email so she can come with us to the conference? And it's because I just want someone who can formulate that kind of thought process. I want them to have that association with those 7-figure earners. Because I need someone who is willing to get coached and mentored and not just willing to question and bicker and fight all the time. Right? To just sometimes people just need to go ahead and just do the work. I always give this analogy like nobody, I'm sorry if you worked at Walmart before, but nobody's at Walmart telling their manager prior like, hey, sorry, I'm just not feeling it today. I can't really stock aisle 7. My attitude's gone. Like the manager would look at you and be like, what do you mean? Stock the noodles.
I actually picked it.
Okay, right? I would get Chick-fil-A too. Okay, right? And actually hear what I'm saying, right? No one's saying that. They just stock the noodles, right? Sometimes I need to tell people, and in the nicest way possible, I'm just like, bro. They're like, Danny, I'm just not feeling the field today. You shouldn't. You should never. Like, I didn't love the field. I love what it taught. The field is the best mentor. The field, you learn the most out of the field. I let Angie and Sevi shadow one of my second rounds today, and Angie's like, wow, it's just the field. And I'm like, yes. She's like, you just CPR'd and then you just fear of lost them. And I'm like, where do you think I learned that? She's like, the field. I'm like, where do you think I'm going to go today? Let's get to work, baby. Like, let's grow. Right? And it gets so excited because what I learned in the field was so awesome. I'm looking at Sebi, and Sebi's like, just a light went off. He's like, wow, you just had a conversation. And I'm like, hey, how do you make a sale not feel like they're being sold to? He's like, you just have a conversation. Whoa. Okay? Right, like that. Sometimes it's just being coached, being mentored, realizing that everything in this business is a coach and a teacher and a mentor is the most important thing. Okay? Last one is communication. Okay? Communication. Holy smokes, guys. Sometimes the thought process that goes into, and it's funny because I really do appreciate it, because for me, I struggle with this a lot, because I used to tell Richard's like, you should probably do this. I'm like, I got this. You don't know what you're talking about. I know them. They're my people. Right? And I would go off and do it, and then I would mess up, and then go to Richard again, and he's going to be like, I told you. Thank you. All right, let's pretend that never happened. Okay, and I would sit there, and I would be like, no, Richard, I got this. You don't know what you're talking about. And I wouldn't say that out loud because I respected Richard so much. What I would do is I would say that with my actions. Because I would ask Richard, like, hey, I want to keep this person, I want to get them to leadership, what should I do? He would give me the exact feedback I needed, but I didn't want to hear because I was so complacent and so confrontational and so dismissive that I thought I knew better than my mentor who completed the training. And I would be like, no, I got it. And then he's like, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. And 2 days later, I'm in his office like, Richard, it happened. I did it, I didn't listen, I'm sorry. Right? And it's so funny because it's whenever I battle my mentor, whenever I don't communicate with him, it's mostly because I know I'm wrong. I have a dog named Stitch. We love Stitch. Experiment 626 is awesome. Okay? Stitch is potty trained. He scratches at the door when he needs to go to the restroom. I open the door, runs outside, does the deed, comes back up. Okay? Comes up a mastermind. Okay? and one time, I was doing the deed, so I didn't have time to open the door. Right? So he went to the restroom in our household. And I'm like, where's Stitch? And I'm like, it's too quiet. Who here has kids? Raise your hand if you have kids. Okay.
I have my cat.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're a fur, like if you have a fur baby, raise your hand too. Okay. When your fur baby or your child is not around, what are they doing? So I'm like this little.
Or you sleep.
I'm sitting there and I'm like.
They never can. He never
I'm there.
can.
I'm like Stitch, and then he doesn't come. I'm like, where did he poop? I'm like, where's the poop? Right, you keep walking and you find it. Am I wrong? No, right? And for people who have actual kids, right? When it's so quiet, right? If you're out there cooking and you haven't heard them, you're like, oh shit. And you're expecting either a house, like a whole room's broken down, these Lego sets everywhere. Something's going on, right? Agreed? Am I wrong? You're right? Okay, right. So with that being said, you're not my children, okay? But when y'all don't communicate with me, when y'all don't talk to me on those uplines, when y'all haven't asked me for a one-on-one in 3 weeks, or y'all haven't broken down y'all's team, y'all poop somewhere. I'm like, hey, where did it go to shit? Something went on, and then I find it out every single time. It's funny, this business revolves. Everything comes around full circle. And they're like, Danny, I didn't want to tell you because I knew you'd be mad at me. And I'm like, where's the proof? And they're sitting there at my desk telling me, I'm like, you would have just talked to me, I would have told you this. And they're like, I know, I just wasn't ready to hear it. And I sit there, I'm just laughing because I'm like, yo, I've been to that. I've been through it. I'm sitting there, I'm like, Richard, I didn't want to tell you. Because I knew you'd tell me the right thing, I just wasn't ready to hear it. Right, so then you go off on your own, and then they prove someone. And you're like, shit, literally. Okay, sometimes if you communicate with your upline, in a very bad analogy, you potty train your team. Yeah, very bad analogy. But came around full circle, right? Hear the intention, not the words.
Scratch at the door when they
They scratch at the door, right? They start scratching. Okay? When you communicate with your upline, you get to the business fast. That's what I'm trying to get to, really. Is that when you communicate with your upline, you start being in alignment with your upline. Their goals matter more than yours, and you talk more about your upline's goals than your own. And then your downline takes in that same effect, and now they're more working to get you to the next level rather than them getting promoted. Like China's like, hey, I'm gonna get Leslie to mastermind. So now getting the leadership is like an obligation to her, because she knows her growing gets her upline promoted. Right? And if you're not so close to your upline because you haven't communicated enough, their goals don't matter as much as yours. But I'm sitting there. If you walk on the other side of this wall, before my goals are whose? Richard's. If you haven't seen them, go out there and see them. I specifically have Richard's goals, then my goals. Because his goals matter more than mine. I want to be his best leg more than I want to be number one. Right? I want to get more owners, more people to management, for him to get to NC, not for me to get to RC. And if you prioritize your upline's goals, your downline will prioritize theirs. And that's really how you build a legacy. Y'all think you can use that today?
Yes!
Cool.